The 12 principles define how to make realistic and believable animation, regardless of medium. In this episode, we discuss follow-through and overlapping action.
TipTut.
So, let's talk about follow-through and overlapping action. The two terms describe similar but separate techniques, and you can kind of think of them as the opposite of anticipation, which we've spoken about in a previous principles episode. Just like a subject has to anticipate a movement by winding up to it, things don't just stop all at once. The subject or parts of the subject should continue to move after the main body has come to a stop. Here's an example with no follow-through, and the same example with follow-through applied. Follow-through basically comes down to certain parts of a subject overshooting the main subject's stopping point. Just like our character anticipated his jump, he has to follow through on the landing. Different objects follow through in different ways. Long flowing hair will follow through in a natural, free-flowing manner, whereas something more rigid like a spring will move differently. Just like we discussed in our straight ahead and pose to pose episode, it's often easier to animate the main body of movement, then go back and animate the follow-through action straight ahead. Overlapping action is a similar concept, but describes how different parts of a subject should start and stop moving at different times, or overlap each other. Let's take our pendulum animation from the squash and stretch episode. Here, the character's body moves first, and for a few frames the limbs don't move. Then they begin to catch up, starting later and overlapping the main body's action, sometimes even moving in the opposite direction to the body. This overlap breaks up the animation into different movements and adds a lot to the feel or polish of the animation. Another example would be a character hammering in a nail. Here's the example with no overlapping action. And here the arm moves in three parts, overlapping each other. The upper arm moves first, then the lower arm, then the hand, creating three parts of overlapping action, each being dragged by the previous segment. Much more interesting than the basic version. The term I just mentioned, drag, is sometimes thrown around too, and basically refers to the amount that an object will overlap or follow through. Something floppy will drag a lot more than something rigid, just like our hair to spring comparison earlier. The final term you might hear is keeping the animation alive. This is the act of tracing an object for a few frames after it stops moving to add a little boil or wobble to the lines. This keeps the animation alive by adding interest even though the subject has stopped moving. That's it for follow-through and overlapping action. Make sure you've subscribed and rung the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode, which is all about slow in and slow out. I want to thank my level 2 and above members without whom this really just wouldn't be possible. People like Win62, Melem Hoover, Andrew Hammond, Jeremy Stewart, Linda Cook, Cassie, Burn Sands, and Ralika M.
Remember to subscribe for more tips, tricks, and tutorials. Thanks for watching.